Welcome to the Rewatchers on the Pod, the podcast where we watch stuff and then talk about it. You're here with me, Tyler Harris, and
Riley Harris,
Gwen Hammer,
Tyler Harris,
Justin Hammer,
our special
You're not
guest,
Tyler Harris.
Fuck.
Did you say Tyler Harris?
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't either.
I thought it was on purpose.
I'm Tyler McKinley, and I'm a fucking idiot.
Well, our special guest, me again, and
Jordan Zabriskie.
Jordan, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for suggesting this movie, which is Skyscraper, the 2018 Die Hard movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If you haven't seen it, can't blame you, but I'm going to go ahead and read you every single happening. This might be the longest summary I've ever written, which is disturbing to me. But here we go, every single moment of Skyscraper. Welcome to the nice suburbs. Uh-oh, dead cop. It's a hostage situation and the criminal's done talking. Time to send in The Rock, who almost de-escalates the situation, but then the criminal blows up his house and turns The Rock into a pebble. An angel tells him everything will be alright. Human beings just want to touch the sky. Look at the Pearl, an awesome building that is way taller than that weak-ass Empire State Building. The Rock is now married to the angel. The Rock has lost his confidence and is worried no one can smell what he is cooking. The Rock tells his wife how to fix 90% of all technological problems. His kids fight over his love before he reveals there's enough love for both of them. The Rock's friend gives them the secret panda tickets. Then they get in the elevator from Mass Effect 1. We meet the Pearl's boss. The Rock proves that he is the right man for the job, so Mr. Zhao shows him the real Pearl. His friend gets him on the boat. The Rock never wants to shoot a gun again. Some black hat steals The Rock's bag. Men who have guns climb out of the walls. It's not Triple H. The Rock still has the magic tablet. The Rock's family didn't get to see any pandas. Two creepy phone technicians leave The Rock's family alone. The Rock's friend attacks him and pulls off his leg. They wrestle. The Rock wins, of course. Then The Rock interrogates his dying friend. The phone guy lights the tower on fire. Mr. Zhao isn't worried about a fire on the 96th floor. The Rock has to get the tablet back to the building. Ruffians steal the tablet. The Rock beelines for the Pearl. The police are not concerned about a fire on the 96th floor. The Rock's family prepares for the worst. The ruffians kill everyone in the Pearl's control room. The Rock tells his family to get as high as they can. The ruffians are in. The Rock sees his family survive the explosion. He's going in. Mr. Zhao prepares the helicopter. The cops want to talk to The Rock. The elevator is locked, so The Rock makes his own way to the top. Everyone is watching. The cops unlock the elevator. The crane isn't long enough, so The Rock makes his own way to the building. The cops tell The Rock not to move. The Rock moves a lot, laughing in the face of physics and God. He really is the people's champion. The Rock's family goes to the park and are attacked by fire snakes. Mr. Zhao's betrayed and attacked. Hans Gruber is here. Zhao's bodyguard destroys their only means of escape, and Zhao locks himself in the penthouse. The Rock is the key to unlocking the system. The Rock's family is attacked by the British bad guy. Apparently, none of the bad guys were briefed on this woman's combat history. Sarah walks the plank while The Rock holds up a bridge. Once they are safe, The Rock stuffs his wife and son into an elevator and drops them 90 floors. The Rock's daughter and The Rock get captured by Botha. Botha interrogates them, interrogates The Rock. Botha is going to throw The Rock's daughter off the roof. Sarah speaks Chinese to the police. The Rock is at it again. Stop giving this man duct tape. The policewoman doesn't trust Sarah. The Rock is must-see TV wherever he goes. His leg saves his life, then props open the penthouse door. Zhao spills the tea on Botha. The Rock is going to give Botha what he wants. Zhao and The Rock activate their plan. The Scorpion King is back. Time for a gunfight in a hall of mirrors. Sarah fights in a car and finds the magic tablet. The Rock is haunted by his past. The Rock steals John Cena's gimmick. Sarah tries to turn the fire systems back on. The Rock prepares for the end. Sarah turns the building off and on again. Zhao, The Rock, and his daughter are saved. The Rock needs his wife. The Rock loves his wife. The Rock finally meets a Chinese cop. That's it.
Yep.
That's all the best moments. Jordan, why?
I feel like I don't have many rules in my life that I live by.
Clear.
Yep. Now, one of them that I do live by, though, is anytime that I'm flying and I have the option to watch a movie, I will watch a Dwayne Johnson film. And so I've seen most all of them, but somehow missed this 2018 hit, Skyscraper. And with our conversation the other night, it turns out you had missed this movie as well.
I had, yeah. Somehow it had slipped by me when it came to theaters.
I don't plan on flying anytime soon, so it was time.
That's good. Yeah, let's talk a little about Skyscraper. I don't know where you guys want to start, but let's just start with The Rock. Man's a goddamn champion. I don't care who you are. I'll watch The Rock do a lot of stuff, and apparently I'll watch him mess around in a skyscraper until his wife figures out how to turn it off and on again over the course of an hour and 45 minutes, which we just did. But yeah, I honestly think The Rock is pretty good. I mean, this movie isn't gonna like make you think The Rock is great by any means. But that fight scene with his old friend is actually pretty good. And I was like, I bet we're going to see a lot more of that in this movie. And then we never did again, really.
Yeah, this is a weird action movie. It almost feels like a man versus nature, but the nature is actually a man-made building. Like, yeah, there's very little hand-to-hand combat.
It felt like I mean, most disaster movies are bad, but this one felt a little extra bad.
A little extra disaster, unintended.
It tried to be both. Like, it tried to be an action movie and, like, a disaster movie, and it's just not a good marriage.
Yeah.
It's not going to last.
What's your take, Jordan, on The Rock's performance in this one, since you're our resident Rock movie expert, apparently? If I'm not mistaken, Dwayne Johnson is still one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood and most requested. And it's because he does movies like this. It's because he will say yes to anything. And he helped produce this movie. Yeah. So he clearly was okay with it. His performance, may not be Oscar worthy, but he stayed true to himself.
Where does this one fall in the pantheon of Rock movies, in your opinion?
Oh, dude, it's definitely above Rampage.
Oh,
I'm gonna give it that. It's above Rampage. It's below Hobbs and Shaw. But yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that one too. So okay.
And Moana?
Oh, Moana's that one's great. It's below Moana too.
Good.
Like if Moana's like at where the fire is on the building,
yeah,
it's like at the entrance probably to the skyscraper.
Yeah, I was gonna say Moana's the one that was chilling up at the top, going, "No, it's okay. The fire's not gonna reach us." I mean, I feel like it's very appropriate that The Rock in this film is just, what can I say besides you're welcome, for this film.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is absolutely one of those movies that, as you're watching it, it's so cliched that it's almost insane. Like I feel like it's a great movie to teach you how much you already know about movies. Like, 'cause you're just like, oh yeah, this all makes perfect sense. Like, so in that regard, it's like kind of great, but it's also the thing that it gets wrong about movies is the fun part. It's just not as fun to watch, I feel like, as this movie could have been. But I will say, watching The Rock scale the outside of a construction crane, and then leaping from that into a building on fire was a highlight of my week, at least, for sure. But yeah, I think like we've kind of talked about how this movie's basically in that pantheon of movies that are just like, hey, we're doing the Die Hard thing.
It's Die Hard.
Like we're putting this guy in a situation that he has no control over, and he's gonna triumph at the end, and his family's involved in a weird way. But I will say it's another way. It's like watching this movie made me love Die Hard more also, because I feel like sometimes it's like Die Hard's really good, and I start to take it for granted, and then I realize how much Die Hard does right as far as script and like characters and structure that it really is hard to do in these type of movies. But yeah, structure-wise, let's talk. I do want to talk about the villains in this movie because it was basically everyone in the building but The Rock's family and his boss, right? I mean, pretty much everyone else in that building is either a bad guy or, I think Gwen mentioned it, when Zhao's bodyguard shoots the helicopter pilot, then destroying the helicopter, and like, it's like, dude, you're just making bad decisions. You're not a bad person, but you did a bad thing. Like, I don't know. What do you guys... I just want to hear any thoughts on villains, if you can remember them. We only watched this movie 10 minutes ago, and I'm already...
I can tell you, I don't know the names of any of the villains.
Oh, no.
I don't actually know what The Rock's name was in the movie either.
Will.
Because
I was like, that dude's name is not Will.
Because, well, see, that's the thing. That's the trivia I read on IMDb was he was named Will because it was his willpower that got him.
Oh, I thought it was because The Rock will do any role. That's his nickname in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, with the bad guys, they were all extremely predictable. I don't think there was one scene in this movie that wasn't predictable, but I love that in that very first meeting, we're like, oh yeah, his friend, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, like, as soon as we see that one guy survived that explosion at the beginning, you know that, like, you spelled it all out, Jordan. Like, you're like, he's gonna be like, oh man, the military never gives anything. Like, that's exactly how it played out, and it was beautiful.
Oh man, let's actually talk. I do want to talk in kind of terms of bad guys. The opening of this movie is fucking...
It's heavy.
It's like heavier than it should be. I will say that. It should not have been as heavy as it was. Because holy shit. Like, at first I was like, oh, it's like a burglary or like I don't know. It's like some kind of like hostage situation. It's like a guy and his family.
Yeah, it's like the dad who's gone crazy.
Yeah. And like, that guy was pretty good. Like, after I watched that scene, I was like, holy shit, that like...
I thought we were in for something like
different.
Good. Yeah.
And Tyler, you laughed at Katie for gasping when the kid was going to fall. You were like, would they kill a kid in this movie? And I was like, they already did.
They killed several.
in the first 10 minutes.
Once you get to know the kids,
The kids are
they'll kill a
protected
kid
by
in
the
the first
plot
act.
shield.
Okay, so if the kid has a name, he's safe.
And they weren't created by The Rock. Anything created by The Rock must remain.
That's the
The end of the film, yeah. But yeah, that whole I was like kind of blown away by that sequence because like,
Blown away.
okay, I didn't I really didn't want to go there, but yes. And then it was when he sees his future wife and it's all gonna be okay. Like, that moment is so like in your face about what it is, and man,
just like the light halo around her head as she's like hovering over him.
Gosh. And The Rock looking like he just came out of WrestleMania. He's like on a stretcher, blood all over his face. Just whatever.
Thought the blood in his mouth was a nice touch.
I expect them to at least show the leg. I don't even think they showed the leg gone.
No. They definitely
But then
did.
later...
There was one shot where they did.
Oh, did they?
When he's putting on his prosthetic, you see...
Or are you talking about like
but I'm
the
saying
bloody
the
leg?
fresh wound.
Oh.
Because we see his head all bloody. Like, oh, what happened? Oh, his leg's gone.
That's in the director's.
I think this movie's
We didn't get the
PG-13,
director's cut.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they probably couldn't
No.
show the severed limb. I think they got new rules about that since like Star Wars. You know, you see a severed arm. Back then that was PG, but now it's like you show any like bloody limbs. I mean, they blur that out in Arrested Development. So
Well, yeah, but that one's disgusting. Yeah, what a weird opening. I was writing the summary for this, so it was well into the movie before I realized he didn't have a leg. I missed the prosthetic leg scene early in the movie. I thought he just had a limp because, like, that's believable too. Like, it could be like you just fucked up your leg, but no, it was all the way gone.
That happened too.
Was it?
That was the fight scene that you like.
Yeah, when his friend.
Yes,
pulled his
it
leg
was.
off.
Yeah, it was there. It was there.
The first time you notice is when the bad guy pulled his
Pulled his
leg
leg
off.
off. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't to the point where I was like, holy shit, he fucking ripped his leg off. But it was like, oh, okay. And I was going to ask about it, but I was like, I've got to write another sentence about this. So, God, I don't even remember where I was going or what I was talking about.
You know what I'm fucking tired of?
Please
I've
stop.
got some words. I'm pretty sick of the protagonist who, like, has to be, like, so overly quote-unquote good that, like, the man who is trying to kill him and his family, he has to be like, I gotta save you, man. I don't want to kill you. Even though you're literally trying to kill me right now, I'm not gonna kill you. And then he, like, accidentally, quote-unquote, shoots him in the chest, and that's, like, how he gets out of it. I'm tired of it.
That is a convenient thing. It's like, our hero can't kill them, so we'll just make it an accident.
Well, it's bullshit because it actually makes you a worse person. Because you could save everyone a lot of grief if you just fucking kill him. Like, slight sidebar here, but since we're on the subject, I am playing that Dragon Ball Z game, right? And there's this punk ass Vegeta who's killed. Like, when they first arrive on Earth, they cause an explosion that cuts out to the planet Earth, and it's like the size of a continent. Like, they have killed millions of people already, and then they start killing their friends, and then they finally get to the point where they defeat him. He's crawling away. Krillin's got a sword. He's gonna stab him through the back, and Goku's like, no, we can't kill him. And you think it's gonna be, because we'll be as bad as him. It's, no, because I technically lost to that guy, and I want a chance to fight him again. And I'm like, you are a horrible person. You're a terrible human being, and I'm like, that's the most extreme. But I'm sick of, like, I can't watch another movie where the good guy is, like, actually just a bad guy because of how stupid he is. End of rant. Batman, fuck you.
I'm Batman. Tyler's views don't represent the entire podcast. Please still listen to us, Batman, if you're there. That's a good point.
Thank you. I just need to be validated for a second. I feel better.
Yeah. Also, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the actual logistics of the business The Rock is running out of his garage. Because, like, he gets brought in for this interview for the security of, like, this, I'm sure, a multi-billion-dollar thing that's happening. Is it just because that guy was trying to frame him? But, like, he actually gets the job. That was the thing. I was like, oh, maybe he's actually solely here because he's a convenient person to pin this thing on. They could be like, he went crazy because there's PTSD or whatever. But no, like, they bring him in for the interview, and the smart guy who built the building is like, this guy gets it. What is The Rock doing? Like, what is he doing in his garage to qualify him for this?
Well, we know he charges half price.
Yeah. And he has a small company.
So he printed coupons. It's the first thing I'm hearing. Step number 1.
Yep.
You don't become a billionaire by spending all your money, all right?
Yeah, on avocado toast and full price security.
Full price security, yeah. That was the other thing that I'm like, cool. He's just like, he's, I don't know. Like, do you just, if you're in the FBI, if you're like on the SWAT team, can you just be like, I'm in business now? It's like, okay, what do you do? I used to be in the FBI. Oh, okay, so you're like good at security? Yeah, but I won't use a gun. Okay, so you know a lot about computers? No, I used to know a lot about guns. I don't understand. I don't know. Is it because The Rock really is the people's champion? Is his charisma so overwhelming that he can walk into the world's tallest building, over 3 times taller than the Empire State Building, New York, and just get a job as security there? Is that just The Rock? Can you just do that?
I think that, I mean, especially the context that we have of watching the film and the most important scene of the movie, explaining how he got the job. The DVD skipped.
Oh yeah, we haven't explained that yet, have we?
No. Honestly, I'm interested to see how much it is, because honestly, I just felt glad that there wasn't more exposition at that point in the movie. Like, I'd been going for 15 minutes, and writing down the summary, I was just like, there's way too much stupid information at the top of this movie that is not good. And, like, I don't know. I don't know what they would have done in that scene, though, to, like...
I don't know, because I'm still confused on how he knows so much about the building and all the security systems and the elevators and emergency exits and everything.
Right. Well, we
It was
probably
there for 10 minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, what else do you need?
we probably missed a scene that was very like America's Got Talent-esque, where there were actually 2 other prospects living in the building with their families, and they had to like do assignments and study the building security, and they all presented their like portfolio at the end, and they just cut the other 2 and sent them home, and it's like, you got the job, congratulations, you're America's Next Bodyguard. And there we are. I think I think that scene had to have like somehow illustrated his knowledge of like tactics and plan, because like
I would hope. I just feel like you're giving the movie too much credit. I hope that's true. But I don't trust this
But
film.
I mean, the only tactic planning we've seen from him has been a failure. So I don't know, like, they got to do something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a kid killed? Great. When can you start?
Never mind. I'm not going to go there. Yeah. So that was a weird thing. My other question is, where did that female cop go? Did anyone else notice that? Like, after she's only there when there's any chance that the other guy will believe that The Rock is involved in the plot and that his wife is in on it. And after, like, he believes her, that cop just disappears. So is that just actually a physical representation of his own like, mind, of his own doubts? And then, like, once those are gone, they evaporate into the mist? Because I never saw that cop again. I don't feel like I ever saw that woman again.
No, she wasn't with him at the end.
She
No.
shot
So-
a guy, I think,
Yeah.
in the shootout, and that's the last shot we see of her.
Okay.
Because as she's moving in, the bad girl is moving in on
Oh,
the guy.
that's right. Okay, okay. Yeah, I just thought it was weird that there was no like resolution to that. It's just like, I'd like to see what happens in that policewoman's life, because that's probably the event that's like sours her kind of even further, and she just becomes more bitter and more bitter, and eventually becomes the bad guy in a later movie. Yeah,
because the police never treated her fairly. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, so this movie is about cycles of just abuse of power and running down the
Treating
people
your
that labor
veterans
for us.
well.
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lesson for all of us.
I mean, they technically didn't actually like stop the main bad guy behind it all, right? Because the main bad guy behind it all is actually like the crime syndicates that's organizing all this.
True.
And they like they just mentioned them kind of. I don't know if they were hoping for a sequel or
Definitely
not.
the strength of like organized crime is distancing yourself enough from the actual crimes to
It seemed like everybody had a boss in this. Because even his friend, he's like, oh man, I thought my boss was going to fire me too. And the other guy's like, yeah, no, I can't do this or else my boss will get mad. It's like, it just kept going higher, but we never got there.
It's kind of like the building itself. So high that God is the boss, actually.
There in heaven at the top.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, I will say another thing that I do not like about this movie is like basically the bad guy's plot was essentially foiled like really early on, and then even they were like, well, we've got to go with this contingency plan of parachuting into a construction zone, because who would believe anyone would parachute into an
Oh yeah, and like that had
zone?
no weight on the plot at all.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what about here, the construction zone, and then nothing.
That was purely to get Mom and Asian killer lady in a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was to get her the tablet so she could turn the building off and on again.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the bad guys didn't need to be there in the first place because the only reason they were there was if they asked for money again, then he would give all of the information of all their offshore accounts and stuff to the authorities. But if they didn't ask for money again, they could continue getting money from other places like they had been for years and years. So they really didn't need to do that.
This movie sucks so bad. Like, there was a point halfway through, I was like, maybe this movie's not that bad. And then The Rock said that thing about duct tape, and I was like, no, this movie's so much worse than I thought.
You have to say the quote.
Yeah, but do you have to whisper it to yourself in a
you
back
do.
room, or can you at least find a bad guy to say it to? Get the quip out, but say it to someone.
Now I will argue that halfway through he did have that thought. He's like, why am I doing this? But then his commitment to comedy and his commitment to putting in his time like really drove him to finish it, because he does say, if duct tape doesn't fix it, get more duct tape. Like there are moments in there where he's like, why am I doing this? What? Just tape yourself up. He's like, I gotta finish it. Get more duct tape.
I can't believe they went back to that well twice after that too.
Yes,
Like,
he did in fact get more duct tape.
I like all the other stuff was like so wacky, but it was like so like, yeah, I'll go with it because it's actually the part where he put duct tape on his hands and feet to stick to the side of the building.
Okay, yeah,
I
wouldn't
couldn't.
So
his
stupid.
rubber soles be more grippy than duct tape?
And then he sticks them to like together multiple times before he goes out to like lose the stickiness. I'm like, that's that part that was the thing that broke the wall for me. You know, like my believability was there until that moment.
I mean, I've seen The Rock leap off a steel cage, so he could totally make the jump off the crane. What I haven't ever seen The Rock do is climb on the outside of a
Dude, the thing
skyscraper.
that bothered me about that crane jump more than the jump itself was when he grabs onto the edge full of glass and then slides off and grabs that like really jagged metal piece. I'm like, dude, I cut my fingers open changing my air filter on my air conditioning. Like, my hands would be severed if I did that.
Oh, dude, he got a piece of metal in his chest, though. That's what happened.
Oh, wasn't it glass?
What? Yeah,
Or
dude.
glass.
Something.
Oh, man, that was a wide piece of glass. Like, there's no way that didn't nick anything important.
Probably in his contract to like show off that tattoo that he has or something. Like, if I'm gonna do a movie, I'm gonna be shirtless at some point.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm doing a movie, I guess The Rock, he better damn well
I mean,
take
yeah,
off his
of
shirt.
course. Maybe it's his tattoo artist that has like a contract with him.
What an amazing man! Can you imagine tattoo artists being like, no, like the guy pulls out responsibility for no, I'm taking points on the back end.
You should have stayed for the credits, guys. I bet the artist would have been in there.
I want merchandising royalties for all the skyscraper toys and bed sheets and lunch boxes.
And that man was Mark Zuckerberg.
Is this tattoo artist?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Mark
Before
Zuckerberg
Facebook.
giving you a tattoo? Oh my gosh. Like,
Oh, that's a
You ever tried Sweet Baby Race?
imagine he like links his fingers in between like
He's got dead eyes, like a doll's eyes, just staring directly at you the whole time.
Do we know what sort of how many different financial interests were involved with this movie? Like,
That's a good question. Let me see. Let me look at the list.
I mean, we looked at how much money it made, but I'm curious, like,
Oh yeah, I don't think we mentioned that on the podcast. So the movie, it did cost $125 million, which isn't exorbitant for
Right, yeah.
this type of movie by any means.
like we're joking about it being an hour and a half long duct tape commercial, but like, I'm curious, like,
if duct tape is on the payroll.
I want to know like how much Chinese involvement occurred with this movie as well.
Well, yeah. So I mean, Legendary Pictures is involved.
That's right. Yeah.
Flynn Picture and $7 and Universal Pictures. So there's only 4 production companies listed. Let me see. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, never mind. This is just about critics. It said the film received mixed reviews from critics who praised Johnson's performance and the film's suspenseful scenes, but criticized the script as cliched and too similar to The Towering Inferno and Die Hard.
Well, you gotta praise The Rock, otherwise he'll come find you
Yeah.
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 Yes.
with duct tape.
Oh.
And he'll fix you.
This
I don't care if it takes $20,000 worth of duct tape. I'll fix you.
This is one of those movies that like it's kind of fascinating to me because I know like it had to go through. I'm assuming that it probably made most of its money in China, maybe.
I'm sure
I
it's
don't know
not. The
if we
box
know
office
that or
isn't
not.
split
Yeah.
up here. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find a domestic versus.
But
global.
just knowing like that it had to pass through like these acceptable levels of like how they're going. I guess it took place in Hong Kong, so I don't know. But that also is a big mess right now too. So
yeah,
it's
really
just thinking about that kind of stuff when a movie like this gets made, like what goes on in the writing room to like portray the Chinese people a certain way, or like
Did they mention China at all, or was it just Hong Kong?
I think it was just Hong Kong.
That's a good question. I didn't pay enough. I didn't really notice.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I didn't realize they were in Hong Kong for a good while, honestly.
okay, that makes me feel better about the leg.
I thought it was like San Francisco.
I mean, Hong Kong is
Just like in
widely recognized
Chinatown.
as the San Francisco of China.
Yeah, I was like, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really interesting. Like, as I don't know if anyone here saw The Great Wall.
No.
Oh,
That,
no.
isn't
Matt
that like one of the
Damon
most
one?
expensive movies that's ever been made or something?
Very expensive. Yes, it's
That's the
Matt
only
Damon
thing I
one.
know about that movie, and Matt Damon was in it.
The second thing you should know is never watch The Great Wall. It's fucking bad. Like, really. I would watch Skyscraper 6 more times to guarantee I would never have to watch The Great
That's
Wall
bad.
again. But 7, I would probably just watch The Great Wall again. If I had to watch Skyscraper 7 times. But yeah, that is like, I think, a prime example. If you're interested in the idea of a movie that is manufactured to make as much money as possible in the US and China, The Great Wall is an amazing case study in that, because what you get is a plot with no friction, because you wouldn't want anyone to be offended. You're going to have a Western hero and an Eastern hero, and it's going to suck. It's going to be so bad. And this, obviously, I don't think Skyscraper goes to those lengths.
Right, yeah.
But it does still feel so devoid of, like, any real friction.
Yeah.
There's nothing really there. And I think a lot of it, like, is the depiction of The Rock's character as this, like, just the perfect... There's nothing wrong with The Rock's character. I can't think of, like, a flaw that The Rock's character has, like, that I
Doesn't
would be
use
like,
guns.
well, yeah, I mean, that is a flaw, but it's like, I don't know, like, the idea of that character as being so noble, I don't know, it's just so
he
ridiculous.
Like wasn't even ever put in a situation where he had to make a difficult choice.
Oh,
really.
no, yeah, you're right. He held up a bridge.
I mean, aside from the intro, which he chose wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, was there a choice there, or was the kid going to blow up no matter what?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
That's how good
guess
at headshots you are. If they would have gotten that Chinese woman to be the woman who had the gun,
100% accurate.
she has accuracy out the wazoo, man. She would have got a headshot.
Well, yeah, no, that's a good point, because that I guess that is his flaw that he faces at the end, but, like, it doesn't really resolve that. It's like,
Not at all.
I should have been behind him. If I had been behind him,
I should have set up a bunch
if there
of
was a
mirrors.
mirror, I could have come behind him and just kicked him really hard. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it didn't really fix the issue. Yeah,
Was a great Sparta kick, though.
It was great, and it was a great John Cena moment.
Yeah.
You really couldn't see him. It was really good.
Just needed to wave his hand in front of his face a few more times.
I loved it that there was a hole in the middle of that pearl thing.
Yeah.
Nowhere else, just right in the middle of the floor.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that is another like very that's another almost ripped from Die Hard moment.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, movie came out in 19.
It was like
Literally 30 years
1987
ago.
or
Yeah.
something.
Tyler, do you know how many movies there are?
I do.
you know how
and
many
I
Die
don't
Hards there
know
are?
how Die Hard isn't close to the top of everyone's list.
You know, I was going to watch it this week, and I got grounded.
I'm not your real dad, Gwen. I don't have any actual power.
Well, now you tell me.
But no, you should watch. Everyone should watch Die Hard. If you're ever thinking of watching Skyscraper, just watch Die Hard instead. Hell, watch Paul Blart Mall Cop instead. Fuck it. I'm glad that Neve Campbell kicked some ass in this movie. That she I can't remember the guy's name. The bad British guy from Game of Thrones and Paddington 2.
Who I totally thought wasn't dead from that fall because we didn't really see it.
Right.
I was like, oh, he's coming back for sure.
Yeah.
And he didn't. Maybe it was a deleted scene or something, but
I loved it when he was introduced as a bad guy that his friends across the way just like shot up his entire area. Like, he's on our team.
I mean, to be fair, I get the vibe that he's just that kind of guy. It's like, even if he is on our side, I mean, if he gets there, he gets there.
I mean, considering how many people they had on the inside, I'm surprised they needed to go through this whole charade to even get what they wanted.
Yes.
Honestly, that's a good tell of how The Rock was not the right guy for the job. This guy has clearly hired the worst security team, and so it would only be appropriate to hire the worst building mechanic. What does he do again?
I don't know.
What was his job to begin with?
Hangs out in the control room and is like, man, we gotta get to a helicopter. Ugh.
It seemed like his job was to get an iPad and then get on a boat. He didn't even immediately get to work.
It's like the iPad with all the power for like the whole building, and
Yes.
you just met this guy. He's like, here you go. It scans to your face so no one else can use it.
I do love the idea that you would hinge your entire, again, multi-billion-dollar project security on a small little iPad that could exit the building at any time. And that's it. And does, yes. And is just passed around like candy. Everyone touches that iPad.
They gave is The Rock like hired full time? Is he a contractor or something? They gave this to him, and like there's the like computer hacker guy who's like, all I need is root access to the systems, and there it is.
Here
All
it
right.
is on an iPad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was planted on him so that they could get it out of the building and steal it, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But then he put it in one of his other rock pockets. Again, unclear on how he still had it after it was stolen from him by a ninja.
he said he put it in his jacket pocket. I'm like, your jacket pocket must be fucking huge to fit a whole iPad.
The
in
Rock he does require a larger than normal jacket, I would assume. So.
there. I mean, he's tall. He's not that tall though. He's like 6'4", 5", maybe.
Again, keep in mind he's always standing next to Kevin Hart.
He has Kevin Hart-sized pockets just in case he needs to walk a little faster.
Yeah, you see in the deleted scenes, he takes the tablet out of the bag, opens it, and just hands it to Kevin Hart. You got any games on this?
I didn't think we could actually make a funny short Kevin Hart joke, but we did it.
Yeah. Oh man, this fucking movie. It really does have like, I hate to keep going back to Die Hard, but it really has like 3 times as many characters as this movie needs. Holy shit.
Like how many people? It's like, guess what? He's a bad guy. There's literally 3 of them, I think. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit. We need 1 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that the billionaire man at the end is just like, I'm gonna do the noble thing and rebuild.
Yeah, not go
Thank
hide
God.
in a bunker.
I'm going to spend billions more. Because at the beginning of the film, it says something about, like, this building's not insured. He couldn't get it insured. And so it's like, he's literally going to spend, like, billions more to just make a building.
I also kind of missed the, like, after we watch a family get blown up by their dad, we cut and the Rock gets operated on by his future wife. We just cut to, like, this utopian commercial about the world's largest building. Why the fuck did it exist again? Did I miss that? I don't know why it was built.
Ego.
Okay, yeah, they were like, people just want to touch the sky. It's like,
Gotta beat the Burj Khalifa.
they're like,
All of these words that are being said right now are playing into my theory that this movie is about male sexuality. Warnings about being promiscuous and STDs and just lots of stuff.
if your ambitions are too large, the Rock will come in and fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
Your penis will catch fire.
Exactly. There we go.
Okay, yeah. Jesus Christ. So the whole I really am struggling. I honestly didn't think till now, like, why the fuck does this building exist? But then, like, the fact that in describing this building, they're like, remember the Tower of Babel and how fucking cool it was? It's like, did you read the whole story? I'm fine with you using that as part of this bullshit presentation, but at least do your research. Like, is Mr. Zhao actually trying to confound the languages of everyone on the planet Earth?
I thought he was trying to reach
Thoughts?
God.
He just wants a high five. Oh no, maybe this fits into the God is the boss theory. He's just trying to move his way. It's just about capitalism.
Yes.
It's about climbing that corporate ladder. But what happens when you get to God?
And the fire level is hell. Yes.
And we're all so much further below hell as we live this life
Hong
on Earth.
Kong is worse than hell.
All right, well, I think we finally reached the whole point of Skyscraper. I can't think of anything else it would be trying to say. Any other thoughts on Skyscraper? Please, Gwen.
I think my favorite part, the writers wanted so badly for him to have cheering crowds that in a post 9/11 world, they didn't evacuate the area around this massive fucking fire.
And instead documented all of his shenanigans the entire time. Somehow, as still unclear how that all worked.
Yeah, they never once showed that camera of who was filming.
Yeah.
And the very end, like, hey, we've got a helicopter to pick you guys up. Could have done this hours ago, but we got to get that shot, man.
Listen, it's ratings week, and we gotta get those things up.
There's like, smile, you're on TV. You know, I wish that there was any character development throughout the entire movie. The most character development that I saw was pre-fire, the kid had asthma. Post-fire, he did not have it anymore.
Hey, you know what? Mom went from learned helplessness. She couldn't turn off her phone. She restarted the building.
She restarted a building. How many people can say that?
From an iPad.
Hopefully none. I hope there is no one in real life that can say that they had to restart a building.
And I mean, from a technical standpoint, I feel like the iPad would at least have to be connected to the building's Wi-Fi to do anything like that. But she was just roaming. I mean,
construction site.
iPads aren't iPhones. They don't just have service everywhere. So, you know. But
I mean, maybe that building is just a Wi-Fi router.
Just a giant router.
Yeah.
That's
if
why
you're
it was
in
built.
Hong Kong, you're connected to the Pearl's Wi-Fi.
It's got a great name, the Pearl, yeah. But no, I mean, all the bad guys too. There was no real motive. I mean, the good guys, there was no reason for them to be there. I didn't care when any good guy or bad guy died. at all. Actually, did any good guys die? At all?
The
black
bodyguard.
security
Yeah.
Oh,
guy.
the one good guy. Man, yep.
Who, I mean, everyone was ragging on his decision, which I get, but I mean, if he did plan that whole thing, that's a hell of a shot. Like, you should get a helicopter and have that. He's like, I'm going to kill all these guys.
Honestly, with the accuracy he had, I'm surprised he didn't shoot all the bad guys.
You did get like
first.
4 or 5 shots off too. You could have like
Yeah.
taken out a few.
I
of
wish
them.
we would have gotten a moment like the Call of Duty moment when you're looking down the sniper scope and you hold your breath and everything just
Yeah.
slows down so you can actually aim. I wish we would have had that for him where he was like, that would have like at least like given me like made it seem like a better choice to me. But.
I like how The Rock's character Will is like, oh, I can't use guns for. Like, it wasn't the gun's fault that he failed to save that kid. In fact, he should have probably used the gun to try and save that kid. But I'll ride that for a sec. He's not going to use guns, but he fucks a couple guys up with a sword. He's got no problems with that.
Nope, not a problem.
See, and his bad guy friend even mentions that. He even says, there's nothing you could have done. He had a bomb strapped to him. Even pointing out, it's not the gun's fault.
Like, yeah. And I think one point out during the movie, too, he does say it earlier in the film. He's like, I put down my sword. I'm not going to pick back up my sword.
It's literally the weapon he
Has
picks
a
up.
sword.
Yeah.
Also, that sword was used to cut the ribbon for the building's opening.
Okay, the other thing that they don't ever like actually tie up is that the Zhao pulling his hands out of the gun was part of the plan the whole time. They they don't give any hints at that. The Rock plays that as if it's actually the way that things are actually going wrong, and then the action that follows, which is them fighting in a hall of mirrors. Why would that be the thing you would plan on being, this is exactly what we need? So it like feels like the plan actually is going wrong, but it actually is the plan the entire time.
Except the Rock even says, you had me going there. You know, I didn't know what you were doing. You know, and it's like, did we just not see what the actual plan was?
Did we never try the actual plan?
What if it was great?
It involved more duct tape.
It was using duct tape to pull the thing on everyone's parachute, so they just flew off the building.
Was it you, Jordan, that said, like, I hope there's a gun duct taped to his back? Yeah. I would have died. That would have been incredible.
Yeah.
When he's like, I need him to come here, and The Rock's like, no. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. He just want him to see his back.
You guys just need to watch Die Hard.
That's in Die Hard? Are you fucking kidding me?
Watch Die Hard.
I can't believe you haven't seen Die Hard.
Oh my gosh, man. Like, I've regretted not seeing Die Hard, but now I regret it even more.
Oh, it's so good.
I hate that that's spoiled for me.
Jeez, guys.
30 years, people. 30 fucking years. Do we have any closing thoughts on Skyscraper?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 do want to touch the sky. Well, okay. Let's close the chapter on this. Let's close the book on this chapter.
Let's confound our language and forget this ever happened.
Thank you. If you want to talk to us about Skyscraper, consult a psychiatrist, and then email us at rewatchersonthepod@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter or Instagram at rewatcherspod. And we will take a quick break. Oh, I guess we could tease next week. Next week, we'll be joined by Juliana Bolter and Zach Vineyard, and we'll be talking about a movie that is also 30 years old, called Jurassic Park.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard of this one. There's dinos in it.
Spoilers.
It's just to get the people in the door. So we'll be watching that next week. Please come back. And we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with recommendations. Thank you. Welcome back to the recommendation section of our podcast, where we talk about other stuff that we've been watching during the week or listening to, thinking about, reading, experiencing. It's the casual section of the podcast. If you fast forwarded here, then you're just cool. I guess. I don't know. Go listen to the rest. Riley, what do you have to recommend for us this week?
I have a couple things this week. There's a couple shows I watched. New seasons came out. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the 3rd season came out.
The Satan show.
Yeah. It is amazing. Like, it's so good. So, yeah, I watched all of that. It's like 8 episodes.
How many seasons in are they now?
3.
Okay. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I feel like it's like 7, but cool.
The actress that's playing Sabrina is the girl from Mad Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sally Draper. Yeah.
Sally Draper, that's right.
Yeah. And the season's wild. And it's great. And they're in hell a lot, and that's pretty fun. So
Yeah. Okay. When I first was hearing about this show, it was like talked about a lot in relation to Riverdale. Mm-hmm. Is there an actual like crossover there, or like any connection other than like the intellectual properties being connected? Like,
so Sabrina lives in Greendale, and they'll like reference Riverdale, and in the show Riverdale, they've referenced Greendale before.
Okay.
And so, like, I don't know if there will be a crossover because they're like Sabrina's Netflix and Riverdale is CW.
Right.
So I don't know if there will be, but it would be kind of cool.
Interesting.
I don't know. It'd be weird.
I mean, it's kind of doing a similar thing to Riverdale, right? It's kind of presenting a darker version of like,
yeah,
a really traditional.
Are there any human beings in Greendale?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Most of them are human.
No, human beings specifically. Greendale Community College.
Well, okay.
That's all I could think of.
Did you guys like it? I was like,
No, I wasn't
I
really.
didn't get it. Like,
He got it. It's all right.
That's another thing you need to watch, Gwen, is Community.
yeah.
put down the books, Gwen.
Stop reading.
Absolutely not.
And what else did you have for us?
Shrill season 2 came out this week also. And I just started it, but if you haven't watched Shrill, you should watch it. It's a Hulu original, and it's amazing. And Adie Bryant is like the main girl in it, and she's on SNL, and she's delightful.
She's really good.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. That feels like it came out of nowhere. Like I wasn't expecting that at all. So cool. Gwen, what do you have to recommend for us this week?
I got a book.
Okay, Tyler, what did you have?
Okay, I started a book, okay? Tiamat's Wrath, James S.A. Corey, and I read the first sentence, and it destroyed me, and I put it down and walked away for a while.
Is this what number is this in
Book
there?
8.
What one am I on? I don't even know. I think I'm on 7.
Uh,
I
The one,
don't know.
the
I
one
haven't
that
talked
the one
about it
that
in a
first
while.
jumps forward in time.
Yes, that's 7.
Okay, I've been reading
wait,
7
maybe
for
it's
like
6.
2 years now, and I just
So time
No,
really
it's
is
7.
jumping forward for you, also.
it's hard. I mean, it's not hard. It's a great book. It's just I suck at reading and staying awake, and life.
Audio books.
We've had this discussion on this podcast. I can't do it.
You can learn.
Now, is this? Is there? What is the name of this series?
The Expanse.
Okay, it is The Expanse. I wasn't sure because I know that's what the show is. Have you watched the show as well?
I tried.
Okay.
I'll give it another chance. I really liked one of the actresses they picked, but I also the Avarasala.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. She's the hands down choice for that role.
Yeah, she's my favorite character in the entire series, and I really liked the actress, but I could only watch 10 minutes because they said Sasa wrong.
The rest of the cast is pretty awful.
Yeah.
Like
How far did you get in? Like, were you just like episodes or
20 minutes into the first
okay.
episode.
Okay. That is one of those shows that I feel like when I initially heard reactions, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna dive in. But then it's now moved to Amazon. Like Amazon has bought it.
People
And
really like it, and they like it after they read the books.
Yeah.
I kind of want to power through it just to see why they like the show.
Yeah. That shit just intrigues me. Like the idea that a show can change that much from its opening. But
Yeah. And then I watched something this week, guys. Season 6 of Grace and Frankie. And it's just adorable and delightful, and it makes me dread being old a little less.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard about it when there was season 1 and 2, and then I didn't hear about it, and then all of a sudden they're on season 6. Like, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. That's fun. Like,
have you watched all of them?
I would call it a guilty pleasure, except I feel absolutely no guilt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Lily Tomlin's a national treasure.
She's
so,
amazing.
And more
Adorable.
people should
And Martin
know that.
Sheen is just so fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Is Martin Sheen one of the husbands?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I that's a show that I watched like an episode of, and I'm like, I love this. I need to watch more. And then 5 years passed, or however long it's
I
been.
keep
so I need
expecting
to
not
watch
to like it, but I mean, I got to the end of this season, and I was like, ooh, I'm excited for the next shenanigans.
Cool. That's awesome. That's great. Anything else for?
No, that's it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to watch Grace and Frankie. Tyler, what did you have to recommend for us?
Mine are kind of weird. So I'm going to give a quick shout out because Doom Eternal is coming out soon. So I have been replaying Doom 2016, and holy shit, that's a game. If you haven't played it. And
That's more game than most games, I
It
feel
is.
like it is.
if you want a game that is just unabashedly a video game in the modern era that is really fun, will have you sweating because, I mean, I remember my first time playing, there was one fight sequence that I was running around with no ammo for probably 30 minutes trying to survive, and it's great. So if you haven't played it yet, here's the hook. Scientists open a portal to hell on Mars, and you are essentially the opposite. You're essentially the you're the anti-Satan.
Yes.
You're essentially the dark messiah that all the demons warn each other about in their scriptures, that this guy's going to come and kill you.
Yeah.
And you're known as the Doomslayer in their scripture. And
You
it's
are
wonderful.
Judgment Day for demons everywhere. And
it's amazing. So yeah, shout out to that. I have also been playing the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot game, only because I loved that show as a kid, and that's all I wanted was a Dragon Ball Z video game where you could fly around, and like that's all I wanted. And so like when it came out, I was like, I'm just gonna get it because I always wanted it, and just out of principle, I'm gonna play it. It's not wonderful, but there are some cool things about it. Some of the combat stuff is fun and interesting, and that story is just stupid as hell. So if you've never experienced it and you want to experience a really stupid, dumb, fun story, go ahead. And the last thing I'm going to recommend is I am seeing Thrice tomorrow, performing my favorite album of all time, Vihisu, from front to back for the 10th anniversary. So if you haven't heard Thrice, pretty much anything Vihisu onward, I can feel comfortable recommending to most people. So that's really good. And also, because of that, I finally listened to Me Without You. And Me Without You is pretty fucking awesome.
So good.
I have gotten into a weird genre of music that is not for everybody. It's spoken/yelled poetry, like spoken word, but sometimes yelled over like dark, brooding electric guitar riffs. And so Me Without You and Law Dispute are like pretty high up there on my list. And so, yeah, I mean, but it's like they're lyricists who like really understand the concept and structure of poetry in a way that most modern lyricists, I feel, don't really capture. And that's really fun to listen to. So I recommend Me Without You to listen to if you're into trying something new.
Yeah. What album would you say, like, what have you liked most of Me Without You?
There's
I think that's
two in particular that I keep going back to. They've got a pretty extensive catalog.
Yeah, I was going to say
here.
they have a large discography. So it's
There it is right
place to
there.
start.
Brother, Sister, and Pale Horses are pretty good. There's also, what is that one called? He does an interesting job of changing up his vocal style on each album, and I can't remember. I don't want to take the time to pull it up, but there's an album where it's very much, a lot of the poetry revolves around like I don't know what type of folklore it is, but it's very animal-based folklore stories, and it's a lot more acoustic and stripped down. It's a lot more of a gentle vocal performance from him. That one's really good too. So those three are really good.
Someone just called 10 Stories, I think.
Is it? It might be
I
that
think
one,
I
yeah.
think it's 10 Stories. Anyways, yeah, those are really great. Jordan, what do you have to recommend for us?
Yeah, so this one was actually recommended to me by Tyler. I feel like you just know everything that I will love. In video games, movies, music. Anyways, Tyler had recommended a band called Origami Angel to me a couple months back. And actually recently we were able to go and see them here in Salt Lake City. And seriously, one of the best live performances I've ever seen. They're a two-piece band. One guitar player who also sings and a drummer. And the band that opened up for them was a 6 or 7 piece.
Yeah.
And
who faced away from us the entire show, which is really interesting.
It was really weird.
It made me feel scared? Yeah. I don't know. It was weird.
It was weird, though they did have a trombone player who you kept forgetting about, and so it was always a pleasant surprise when they came back in. Yeah. But for being a 6 or 7 piece band, Origami Angel being a 2-piece who came on after, sounded more full and bigger than that band with just their setup. They're awesome. Their guitar playing is insane. Their lyrics are very nostalgic, singing about things like McDonald's Happy Meals and watching Danny Phantom. And so their album just came out maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. It's called Somewhere City. It's definitely worth a listen, or 50 for sure.
Yeah, it's literally been like I've listened to it every day. I think since
so I've had that on repeat. Pine Grove just released an album this month called Marigold. They're touring that right now. It's not an easy listen through, but it's worthwhile for sure. You do have to be in a mood for that one, or at least ready to be in a new mood after listening to it. And then on I guess a happier side, Medical Police just came out on Netflix, which is a spin-off of Children's Hospital. And it is a spin-off of Children's Hospital. It is the most ridiculous show I've ever watched, and I can't wait to watch it again.
That's awesome. Does it seem like they're going to keep doing
I really hope so.
Okay,
because
cool.
It is, I mean, the production value is amazing. Every joke is fantastic, and you just can't believe how good it is and how stupid it is at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds really like it's a spin-off of Children's Hospital.
It's a spin-off of Children's Hospital.
It's amazing. Okay, great. Those are awesome. Justin, do you have any recommendations for us?
I finally got around to watching Midsommar this week. I've been wanting to do it. Yeah, I've been wanting to watch this basically since it came out, and I went into it only having an idea of kind of like what it was going to look like. Mm-hmm. That was basically it, and I knew that it took place in Sweden, I believe is the country. It was a ride. This is one of those things where it's like I don't know how to recommend it to somebody because it's something that is really hard to watch.
What was the context of you? Did you watch this alone? I know that you were watching.
I did. Okay. I watched it alone in the middle of the day, actually, and I had to take a break about 3/4 of the way through, like right before the climax at the end. Okay. Like that was just the nature of me watching it that day. Yeah. It wasn't like when I watched Hereditary, which I watched alone at like 1 a.m. and then had to go to sleep right after watching that. And Hereditary is a more
impossible feat. I feel like
Hereditary is much more, I think, viscerally scary. Like it's there are images from Hereditary that I will be afraid of until I die. Mm-hmm. Like that stuff is going to be stuck in my head forever. Midsommar, I don't think has the same sort of like impact on me, but it feels a lot deeper almost. Like, I don't know. I understand why a lot of people came away from it not liking it. One, because of just the content. It's heavy stuff. But it's, I don't know. It's really interesting. And a horror movie that touches on loss, like explores like losing family members and tragedy and stuff like it, and not in a traditional like you're like a killer just killed your brother, your boyfriend or something like that. This is a much more like psychological aspect to this, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think that like the attempt of both Hereditary and Midsommar to quantify the emotional turmoil of its characters is really I can't think of like many other movies that are trying to do that. The other one I think about always when I think about Hereditary and Midsommar is The Witch. Has a lot of those similar vibes to me, but those are way different.
Pretty much Ari Aster, is that his name?
Yeah, Ari Aster. Yeah.
that I will watch anything that he makes.
Yeah.
Like, I am sold. He's fantastic and brilliant as a director, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. Other than that, this week I finished up. I don't know if I actually did. I talk about this last time. I finished The Dark Forest, which is the second book of the three body problem trilogy.
I don't think you did talk
I couldn't
about
remember
that,
if I
actually.
talked about that. Yeah, so I finished that up. It's it's one of the books that Gwen has been trying to get me to read for years, and I enjoyed it. I don't have quite as high of an opinion on it as Gwen does, but it's fun. It's like the sci-fi concepts and kind of like the sciencey big picture things that are presented are done in a way that are enjoyable, and there's a lot of like fun thought experiments, I guess. But I have a really big issue with the writing itself. It's hard to get past how, in my opinion, poorly it is written, as well as the human characters are just really rough to follow as human characters, in my opinion. So it doesn't quite hit as high for me as I think other people. But I'm starting up the third one in the trilogy right like today, so
Cool.
I want to finish it and see what happens.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool. Yeah. I've been reading the first book of that. I'm a little over halfway through now, I think. But yeah, I'm hoping to finish that this week and kind of move on and see some other stuff. But
I'm so happy, you guys. Thank you for reading these books.
I just want you to stop talking about it on the podcast.
Got it.
No,
Shut up.
No, I'm absolutely kidding. I'm actually enjoying it a lot. I think I told you it's one of those books where it's like it's been three different things in really big ways throughout, like even up to the point where I'm at. So it is a really intriguing read, and it's certainly not a difficult read by any means either. It clips along pretty well, but so the things I have to recommend, I'm going to recommend again just because it's the only thing I'm playing is just Yakuza, just constant. There's not a lot of new games coming out, and I now own every Yakuza game on PS4, so I'm probably just going to play every Yakuza game on PS4 until I'm done with every Yakuza game on PS4. Holy shit.
That was the clip that we watched last night.
Yes, yeah, that
Okay.
was Yakuza 3. We watched the Donkey video on Yakuza 3, which is just a delight. It's a good one to watch if you want to know what you're kind of in for with this game. And then just search Yakuza Karaoke. It's fucking bizarre and crazy. But yeah, so that's really good. The other thing I'm going to recommend is this week David Lynch released a new short film on
I did watch
Netflix
this.
called What Did Jack Do? And it's probably the closest we'll get to a Gordon Cole spin-off project of any kind. It is just David Lynch interrogating a capuchin monkey about a murder that has occurred. Don't worry. The monkey does have what seems to be David Lynch's own mouth deep-faked onto its face, and delivers such delightful lines as, "I'm not shitting you," and reaching under those feathers to feel those supple breasts. There's nothing like it.
Sold.
It is an absolute surrealist. It is 17 minutes long. It
With
should be
two camera
required
shots
viewing.
for probably 90% of it.
Yes. It is textbook surrealism. I feel like it is a really, if you wonder like what surrealism in film is, it's as good a representation as any, I feel like. And especially, it's just wonderful to see a new thing from David Lynch, like a new film thing from David Lynch, because it has been a while. And it is worth noting this film was actually made and finished in 2016, and it was showed at like a couple of David Lynch's like art exhibition things. And now it's just on Netflix for everyone to enjoy. By the end of that short film, the name Tutatabon will mean things to you that you did not know it could mean.
That's what my wife yells around the house to get my attention now.
Tutatabon!
Did I hear that there was a record that was released as well? That the monkey from this,
So-
there was a record that came out?
There is a musical number
Oh my gosh.
towards the end of this film that
Okay.
is an absolute fucking delight. And yes, it is on Spotify.
All right.
The monkey Jack Cruz plays himself. That is probably one of even the credits of this movie are amazing. But yeah, go watch. If you've got any interest in David Lynch, just watching David Lynch do weird shit that he wants to do, just go watch What Did Jack Do. It's so... I've watched it like 3 times this week. Just because it's so... There's a weird comfort to me that comes from that. But yeah, that's mainly all I've been doing this week. So those are my recommendations. But we'll be back in just a short 7 days to talk about the cult classic that many people have not seen or heard of, Jurassic Park. Like I said, there's dinosaurs, so brace yourself. But yeah, until then, signing off. It's me, Tyler Harris.
Riley Harris.
Gwen Hammer.
Tyler McKinley.
Justin Hammer.
And
Jordan Zabriskie.
thank you so much for bringing us Skyscraper, Jordan.
Anytime.
See you later.
Ready.